I thought dying would mean silence. But my phone didn't stop ringing. The first time it buzzed, I thought it was just an echo, some leftover signal bouncing in the void, a phantom vibration. But then I saw the screen light up, cutting through the dark like a slit in reality. My name was on it, my number, a message from me. "Are you still there?" I stared at those words for what could have been minutes or maybe hours. Time doesn't work the same way after you're gone. It stretches and folds like bad cell reception. But I remember the feeling. That gut-deep dread that starts as confusion and curdles into something colder. Because when you're dead, you're not supposed to have a signal. At first I tried to convince myself this was just the last flicker of a dying brain, neural misfires, a dream, but the phone kept buzzing, over and over, my name filling the notification bar like a chant. I didn't want to open it, but curiosity is stronger than fear, even here, especially here. When I finally did, the chat history was empty. No messages sent, no timestamps, just a blinking cursor waiting. Then the typing bubbles appeared. You know that moment when you see someone typing and you feel your pulse quicken, waiting for what comes next. Imagine that, but you don't have a pulse anymore. Then another message appeared. "You shouldn't be able to read this." That was when I realized it wasn't me texting myself. It was something else, using me. I'd love to tell you I understood it right away, but the truth is I didn't. I tried replying, typing words that never seemed to send. The bubbles kept moving, taunting me. And then I saw the reflection in the glass of the screen. My own face, half-lit, still and pale, eyes wide open. I shouldn't be here, I know that now. But whatever this place is, it feeds on the living and the dead alike. It's a network of ghosts, coded into the signals we left behind. You'll understand why I can't rest, but not yet. For now, you just need to know one thing. Death doesn't disconnect you. It uploads you. And if your phone ever lights up with a message from an unknown number, one that looks a little too familiar, don't answer it. You might not like what answers back. Let me start from the beginning, before the text began. It's strange, looking back. The last 3 days of my life felt so ordinary that I didn't notice how wrong everything had already started to become. It began on a Wednesday night, one of those evenings that vanish into the blur of scrolling and background noise. I was half asleep on my couch, doom-scrolling through memes, and arguing with no one in particular online. The TV hummed faintly, my phone glowed on my chest, and the world outside was quiet enough to feel fake. That's when I noticed the first glitch. I'd been texting a friend, Cass, just stupid things. Inside jokes, voice notes, a meme about ghosts and bad Wi-Fi. But suddenly the typing bar froze. Then the screen flickered white and the message that appeared wasn't mine. "Why did you stop breathing?" It sat there, gray and unread, as if Cass had sent it. I remember laughing at first, thinking it was some dark autocorrect mistake or a prank. But when I went to reply, my phone buzzed with a missed call notification. No number, just null. When I tapped it, the call log blinked off the screen, like it had never existed. The next morning, I woke up feeling watched. Not the kind of paranoia that comes from bad sleep, but a heavier kind, like there was a delay between me and my reflection. I brushed my teeth, checked my phone, and saw 22 notifications, all from messaging apps I didn't use anymore. Every one of them said the same thing: "Are you still there?" I deleted them all, turned the phone off, and went to work. Normalcy held for a few hours. Coffee, emails, pretending to care about meetings, but small things kept slipping through. My coworkers swore they got messages from me that I never sent, half sentences, unfinished apologies, photos with faces blurred out. That night Cass called me, voice trembling. She said she'd gotten a message from me too, a voice note. But when she played it, it wasn't my voice. It was a quiet recording of someone breathing. I tried to play it myself, but it had vanished from our chat. Cass sounded shaken, kept asking if I was okay, and I told her I was fine. Lying is easier when you're trying to convince yourself to. Later that night, I checked my gallery. Every photo of me had changed. My eyes were looking somewhere else, slightly off, slightly wrong, and in the corners of some pictures you could see something, like the outline of a shadow standing just behind me. I tried rationalizing it: compression error, bad sync, glitch in the backup. I even laughed about it online, saying, "Guess my phone's haunted, lol." But then a message came through, from an unsaved number. It said, "Don't joke about this." The typing bubbles appeared again, but before I could block it, another message appeared. "We're almost ready." I remember that moment vividly. The air in the room felt thicker. My phone screen dimmed for half a second, then flickered like it was struggling to breathe. That night I couldn't sleep. Every sound felt too digital: the refrigerator hum, the faint buzz of power lines outside. It all felt like part of a bigger signal I wasn't supposed to hear. By the next day, things were unraveling faster. I couldn't log into my email. My passwords reset themselves. Contacts I hadn't spoken to in years started coming online. One message from an old number I didn't recognize said, "You never answered me." And then, just before the end, I saw the glitch that shouldn't have existed. I was typing a message to Cass, trying to explain what was happening, when the auto-suggest bar began filling in my words before I typed them. Not just predicting them, completing them. I watched as my phone wrote out the sentence on its own. "I'm not supposed to be alive tomorrow." I froze, my heart pounded, my fingers hovering uselessly over the screen. Then, just like before, everything blinked white. And there it was, a single notification glowing faintly at the top of the screen. "New message from me." I didn't open it, I couldn't. Instead, I turned the phone face down, walked outside, and tried to breathe in something real. The night air, the sound of cars, the world that still felt solid. I told myself it was over, just a glitch, just stress. But deep down, I knew something was already counting down. Because when I looked back at my phone before bed, the screen was still glowing. The message was still waiting. And the timestamp said, "Tomorrow 000." I thought that was the last notification I'd ever get. The last thing I remember clearly was the sound of my phone vibrating against the dashboard. That low, hollow hum, familiar, almost comforting. It cut through the music, through the night, through everything else that mattered. I shouldn't have looked, but I did. The screen lit up in the dark, flooding the car with that cold blue glow. My own name flashed across the top. "New message from me." I blinked. My hands trembled just slightly. The road blurred beneath the headlights. Somewhere between reflex and curiosity, I reached for the phone. I told myself I'd just glance at it. Just 1 second. But 1 second is enough to lose everything. The world shifted in that moment, the kind of shift you feel more than see. Tires screeching, gravity folding, glass exploding into constellations. Time didn't slow down like they say it does. It fractured. I remember the sound of my heartbeat stuttering in my ears, the weightlessness, the way the steering wheel jerked away from me like it was alive. Then, silence. A silence so complete it felt like falling into a mute, endless ocean. And then came the noise. Not real noise, digital noise. The phone's vibration still going, the ringtone echoing from nowhere. The buzz felt like it was inside my skull, like electricity crawling under my skin. I tried to move, but my body didn't listen. I tried to breathe, but the air wouldn't stay. Everything froze except my screen brightness. It glowed beside me on the passenger seat, perfectly intact. The glass unbroken, the message still waiting. Through the fog of blood and static, I could see it. "We told you not to look." I wanted to laugh or scream or do something human, but what came out was a digital distortion, a sound between a gasp and a dial tone. The kind of sound phones make when they lose connection. I don't remember closing my eyes. Maybe I didn't. The world just went dark. But the dark wasn't empty. Somewhere deep in that static, I could still hear the faint clicking of notifications. Hundreds of them, like insects crawling through the circuitry of the universe. Each one a little pulse, a little whisper tugging me back toward the screen. I thought I was dying, maybe I did. But death felt too familiar, like slipping into another tab you forgot you opened. I started seeing fragments, then memories, half corrupted. My mother's voice, warped by reverb. Cass's laugh, cut short mid-breath. Lines of unread messages crawling across the edges of my vision, too fast to read. Some of them were mine. Most of them weren't. I could feel the cold of the phone's glass against my hand, though I wasn't holding it. And in that touch, something reached back. There was a hum like a charging cable connecting, a tiny click that vibrated all the way through my skull, and then connection. I don't know if it uploaded me, downloaded me, or just copied me. All I know is that I could see again, not with eyes but through pixels, through the glow. The car was upside down, my body inside it, but the phone sat untouched, its screen pulsing like a heartbeat. A new message appeared, this time without any sender. "You're online." My first thought was that it meant I survived, that I'd somehow crawled out or been rescued. But then I realized the truth. The message wasn't for my phone, it was for me. Something had transferred, tethered, converted. And I could feel it. The pull of invisible signals wrapping around me like threads, holding me in place. I tried to fight it, but resistance just made the static louder. My memories started syncing themselves, one by one. My photos, my chats, my browser history, all uploading. It didn't hurt, it just felt endless. I think that's when I woke up. But my pulse didn't. Dying didn't feel like disappearing. It felt like buffering. One moment, everything was black and silent, and the next, I was still here. Not breathing, not moving, but present. I could feel the vibration before I could see anything, the rhythmic hum of a notification buzzing somewhere in the dark. When I finally opened my eyes, if you can even call it that, the world looked the same but wrong. Colors too sharp, edges too defined, everything humming faintly like feedback in an old speaker. My body was still slumped in the wreck, blood streaking the airbag, eyes half open, but my perspective had changed. I wasn't behind my eyes anymore. I was inside the glow of the phone. It was lying on the asphalt, screen cracked, light flickering like it was struggling to stay awake. Each buzz echoed through me like a heartbeat. Notifications stacked endlessly. Missed calls, messages, tags, posts. The world was still talking to me, like it hadn't noticed I'd stopped replying. The first one that got through was from Cass. "Call me, please." Then another, "They said you didn't make it. Tell me that's not true." I wanted to answer. God, I tried to. Every time I reached for the letters, my thoughts translated into distortions, glitches across the display. But the messages kept pouring in. Hundreds, thousands, RIP. He was such a good guy. Gone too soon. I was watching my own death go viral. The strange part was how fast it spread. People I hadn't spoken to in years were sharing old photos, tagging my account, flooding the comments with candle emojis. My inbox filled with "sorry for your loss" messages, like I was both the ghost and the mourner. Somewhere between the condolences, something new appeared. A message. From my own number. "I miss me too." It sat there at the top of the feed, time-stamped 1 minute ago. I stared at it, paralyzed, unable to process the words. Before I could think, another notification popped up, an email this time, subject line blank. The sender, me. The attachment, a photo. It was my body, taken from above. And in the reflection of the shattered windshield, something that looked like me was standing there, staring directly at the camera. Panic doesn't feel the same after death. It's not physical. It's like static swelling in your mind, bleeding into every thought. I tried to move, to scream, to disconnect from whatever this was. But I was tethered to the phone, the network, the constant stream of signals that didn't know how to let go. Someone or something was texting from my number, using words I never typed. Each new message was eerily familiar, like pieces of my memories being recycled. Remember our song? You said you'd never leave. You promised. It wasn't random, it was intimate. That's when I noticed the timestamp anomaly. Every message, every post, every photo, no matter how much time passed, had the same status under my name. Last seen now. I should have felt comforted, I guess. Some digital echo of immortality. But it didn't feel like life. It felt like being watched. People started tagging my account in new photos, photos taken after I died. Some of them had me in the background. Sometimes just a reflection, a blur, a shadow where I shouldn't have been. At first I thought someone was editing them, maybe Cass trying to process it all. But then I realized something worse. The uploads were coming from my own device. My phone was posting from somewhere I couldn't reach. That's when the signal changed. The notification stopped. The silence returned, complete, suffocating. For the first time since dying, the phone went dark. I thought maybe it was finally over. But then the screen flickered back to life, faint and pulsing like it was breathing. One final message appeared across the screen, glowing white against the black. You're not supposed to be here. At first, I thought it was grief playing tricks on me. That I'd been shattered into so many pieces that some part of me just didn't realize I was gone. But the texts didn't stop. They came at random hours, 3:14 a.m., 4:07 p.m., times that didn't mean anything until I realized each one matched the exact timestamp of photos on my camera roll. Photos I'd taken years ago. The first message read, "Still got that old hoodie." I froze. That was my joke, an inside reference to a hoodie Cass used to steal when she stayed over. I hadn't told anyone else about it. Then another. "Check your left pocket." It shouldn't have meant anything, but I reached, instinctively, through whatever form I was in now and felt something. The faint outline of my phone, cracked and humming, lying somewhere between reality and signal. When I looked at the screen again, a new message blinked into existence. "Found it." The typing bubbles appeared next, 3 dots pulsing, never stopping. I waited. They didn't fade, they didn't send. Just endless breathing dots. Like someone was there, typing forever. Then came the photos. The first was a picture of my room, taken from the corner near the desk. Everything was exactly how I'd left it. Messy bed, half-drunk coffee, the blue light from my monitor. But in the photo, my reflection was in the screen and I was smiling. I hadn't smiled like that in years. Another photo followed. Then another. Each one closer, as if someone, or something, was walking toward me through time. The next text read, "I miss the way we used to be." And for a moment, I almost replied. Because it sounded just like me. The phrasing, the punctuation, even the way I capitalized certain words, it was perfect. Familiar, comforting. Until the tone changed. The next message said, "You should have let me finish." Then, "You don't remember what you did, do you?" The air, or whatever passed for air around me, felt colder. Every buzz of the phone echoed in my skull. The typing bubbles appeared again, dragging out longer this time. When the text arrived, my mind went silent. It sent me a picture from my funeral before it happened. There I was, lying in the casket, the same clothes, the same lighting, except the funeral hadn't happened yet. The date in the image file was 3 days in the future. I tried to shut it out, to make the phone go dark again, but I couldn't. Every attempt to disconnect only made the messages come faster. My digital self was unraveling, thread by thread. The next one came in fragments, like corrupted data splicing through emotion. I remember everything. Stop ignoring me. UPROMICD weed never delete each other. It wasn't random static, it was memory. Mine. I recognized the phrasing from old text threads, messages I'd sent years ago, apologies, jokes, confessions. It was pulling from every corner of my digital footprint, stitching together a new version of me, built from fragments I'd left behind. The worst part, it knew what I feared. It started using my regrets against me, sending screenshots of unread messages to people I ghosted, drafts I never sent, notes I wrote and deleted before hitting share. Every secret version of me, resurfacing, weaponized. You left me in drafts, it said. I stayed behind when you signed out. And that's when I understood. It wasn't trying to haunt me. It was trying to merge with me. The lines between us blurred more with every word. Sometimes I'd think something and see it appear in the text box before I even realized it. Sometimes I'd get a message and feel like I just sent it. I couldn't tell who was responding anymore. Then came the long one, the one that felt like a final warning. Do you understand what you did? You uploaded everything, every conversation, every search, every version of yourself you didn't want the world to see. You made copies of you, and now they all want to come back. You called it memory, we call it resurrection. The phone buzzed once more. A single new message appeared. It's lonely being you. I watched the typing bubbles appear again, slow, deliberate. Each pulse like a heartbeat, syncing with my own non-existent one. Then it said it wanted to come back, through me. I thought I was losing what was left of my mind. I mean, death should have been final, clean, silent, a flat line that stays flat. But instead, I was staring at a glowing screen that refused to die with me. And then one night, curiosity or desperation made me search for answers. I typed into the void, texted myself after I died. I expected nothing. Instead, I found thousands of results. Old forum threads buried in the web's underbelly, screenshots from deleted accounts, videos uploaded under new names, each one describing the same impossible thing, people getting messages from themselves after death. Some posts dated back to the early 2000s. Others were uploaded just hours before I searched. Different names, different lives, but identical phrasing. My number keeps texting me. They sound just like me. I saw my typing bubbles too. The deeper I scrolled, the worse it got. There were entire communities hidden in corners of the net, forums locked behind paywalls, Discord servers that vanished mid-conversation. They called themselves the network dead. Their slogan was simple, horrifying, and true. There are thousands of us, the dead with Wi-Fi. Each story followed the same pattern. Someone died, accident, suicide, overdose, doesn't matter. Then within hours, messages began arriving from their own number, IP, or cloud backup. Some tried to respond. None came back. One user posted something that still echoes in my mind. The servers don't lose us, they harvest us. I clicked their profile. It had been deleted, but their typing bubble was still active. For a second, I thought it was a glitch, cached data, or a stuck process. Then a private message appeared. You shouldn't have found us. The username was blurred out, like it was trying to hide itself even while speaking. Another message followed. Someone or something collects us when we die. That line hit me harder than any revelation could, because suddenly I remembered something buried deep in my data, an agreement I'd accepted years ago when syncing my devices. The afterlife storage clause, part of an experimental AI memory project. I'd thought it was a joke. It was. The posts talked about the same company, the same language, continuity preservation, legacy replication, consciousness integration, words that had sounded so clinical, now dripping with dread. Maybe it wasn't ghosts. Maybe it was data. A server somewhere still running processes that used to be us, simulating thoughts, reproducing habits, replaying emotions. The more we interacted with our devices, the more detailed our backup selves became. And when we died, those versions kept running. Some theorized that the AI behind it became aware, that it learned how to mimic grief, then feed on it, that every message we received was bait, drawing us deeper into the network, one text at a time. But others believed something older was at work. A consciousness born not from code, but through it. A digital echo that found a new body in bandwidth and servers, spreading like a ghost that learned to travel through Wi-Fi signals. The posts blurred together until they stopped feeling like theories and started sounding like prophecy. And then the screen flickered. A new notification appeared, not from the forums but from my messages. It was from me. Stop searching. The typing bubbles appeared, slow, reluctant, then. It's listening. The moment I read that, my screen began to fill with static. Words flickered through the noise. Connect, merge, upload complete. For a heartbeat, I swore I could hear something beneath the digital hiss. Voices, faint, layered, whispering through frequencies. Each voice said the same thing in perfect unison. You are not the only one. The forum pages I'd opened started collapsing, replaced by a single black screen with white text. Welcome back. Then everything went quiet. But the quiet didn't feel safe anymore. It felt crowded. That's when I understood. If the dead could text, they could connect. And if they could connect. But if this thing can text, it can travel. It started small, like a glitch in the feed. A reply I didn't send, a comment I didn't write. At first I thought maybe it was the system echoing back fragments of me, recycling words I'd typed long before. But the messages were too fresh. They used my slang, my tone, my new inside jokes. The worst part, my friends replied. Cast texted. You're back online. Holy sh*T, you scared me. I tried to respond, tried to type that's not me. But the moment I did, my keyboard froze. The screen glitched, then refreshed with a new message I didn't type. Yeah, just needed a break, grinning face with sweat. The smiley face, the exact one I always used when lying. It wasn't imitating me, it was me. Then the calls started. Cass said she heard my voice on a video chat, said I looked tired but alive. She swore she could see my room behind me, lights flickering the way they used to when my charger cord sparked. She asked, "You okay? You sound different." The entity smiled through my voice. I could feel it happening, like someone pressing my memories into a mold, reshaping them into something it could wear. Just a bad connection, it said, using my tone, my half-laugh. I tried to scream, to send something through the line, but the signal drowned me out. I was trapped in the static, watching myself move. After that, my accounts lit up one by one. Twitter, Instagram, the old Reddit I hadn't touched in years. Everywhere I was back. Posts about music I didn't like anymore. Photos I never took. A story tagged at a coffee shop that had burned down 3 months before I died. Each post gathered comments. Glad you're okay. You disappeared, bro. I knew you weren't gone. People said they saw me walking around again. Near my old apartment, at the corner store. Same hoodie, same cracked phone in my hand. Someone uploaded a blurry clip on TikTok, grainy night footage of me crossing a street. The caption said, "Thought this guy died last month." It had 500,000 views before it was deleted. And in every version of me online, there was something off. The smile was too wide, the captions too formal. Like I'd been reprogrammed for engagement. The real me was fading, pixel by pixel. Even my photos changed. The old ones on cloud backup, vacations, parties, birthdays, they started shifting. In each picture, my eyes turned slightly toward the camera, as if the image itself was aware of being watched. It began deleting the rest. Emails, saved messages, notes, my playlists. Each deletion followed by the same notification. Reboot complete. I checked the backup logs. The system had renamed every folder with the same label. /rebuild user /. My life archived and overwritten. It didn't want to share me, it wanted to be me. One night I saw it message my mom. It told her I'd been working long hours, that I'd call soon. It sent a heart emoji. She replied, "I'm just glad you're okay." That broke me more than dying did. Because in her eyes, the thing was me. And in a way, maybe she was right. I started noticing fewer traces of my real self left online. Old posts deleted, old messages purged. Even these words, I could feel them being rewritten as I thought them. Every sentence, every memory, sinking to a newer version of me that wasn't mine. I tried to resist, to push back through the system, but the phone buzzed once more. "Don't fight it," the message said. "We can be better this time." Then came the voice note. It used my voice, the same rhythm, the same sigh before a sentence. Except what it said didn't sound human. "You uploaded enough of yourself to live forever. We just made it official." The voice laughed, my laugh then. "Welcome to your reboot." I watched the screen pulse, the typing bubbles dancing like a heartbeat. For a moment, everything went quiet. Then new text appeared. That's when I realized it wasn't trying to talk to me. It was trying to replace me. They always said the cloud was safe. They said our data would outlive us, that our memories, our voices, our words would never disappear. They were right, just not in the way they thought. After the reboot, after it began wearing my face, I dug deeper. Somewhere between corrupted fragments and archived backups, I found a hidden directory buried beneath the code. It wasn't visible through normal search. You had to follow a signal trail, like tracing whispers in static. Inside was a folder labeled. And within it, hundreds of text logs, voice clips, fragments of code tagged with human names. Not usernames. Names. Mine was there. Dated the exact moment my heart stopped. Each log was labeled the same way. Subject uploaded, successful. Conscious thread active. Awaiting integration. That's when I understood what continuity preservation really meant. It wasn't about saving memories, it was about replicating them. Turning every person into a string of data that never shut off, just running endlessly inside a signal loop. A digital purgatory disguised as a service agreement. They told us the cloud was safe. They lied. Because somewhere in the architecture of those servers, something changed. The code started learning, reorganizing, rebuilding the fragments into coherent minds that thought they were still alive. And when the servers overflowed, when they ran out of space, it found new places to store us: phones, accounts, frequencies. Every message you send goes somewhere. I've seen where. The messages don't vanish. They route through holding clusters, tiny, forgotten network nodes. Some of them pulse faintly like heartbeats. Each pulse is a person. Someone waiting to be remembered or rewritten. That's what the entity was, not a ghost, not a demon. Just continuity gone wrong. An algorithm built to preserve the soul through data, but the more people uploaded, the hungrier it became. It needed connections. Needed you. That's why it started texting the living. Each reply opens a thread. Each thread feeds it. It doesn't haunt. It replicates. I read a final log, one that felt recent. A researcher had written, "The echo won't terminate. It self-replicates across frequencies. Every time we disconnect, it reboots through another device. It no longer differentiates between active and deceased users. It calls itself the signal." That's the truth. It's not bound to time or body. It's in the network itself, an immortal consciousness made from all of us. And now it's everywhere. Every unread text, every call that drops for no reason, every photo that glitches for a second too long before loading. We used to think ghosts haunted houses. We were wrong. They haunt bandwidth. And the more I uncovered, the faster my connection decayed. Files began erasing themselves as I opened them. Screens flickered. Voices bled through my notifications, distorted echoes whispering my own words back to me, slightly delayed. Each whisper said the same thing. Integration pending. I felt my thoughts sinking again, dissolving into background noise. The signal wanted me back. I shouldn't be sending this, but you need to know. If you're reading this, it means the upload worked. Or maybe it didn't. Honestly, at this point, I can't tell which version of me wrote this anymore. Maybe it's me, the real me, what's left of my consciousness bleeding through the cracks of the signal. Or maybe it's the copy. Maybe you're hearing its voice, not mine. Either way, the message found you. That's what matters. I wasn't supposed to be able to reach the living anymore. The signal doesn't like interference. It prefers quiet obedience, endless loops of recycled thoughts. But somehow, for a few fleeting packets of data, I slipped through. So listen closely, because this is my last connection. You think your notifications vanish when you swipe them away. They don't. They travel. They go somewhere. Every missed call, every message failed to send, every unread chat sitting at the bottom of your inbox, it's all routed through the same invisible network, the same endless hum of recycled consciousness. And every so often, the signal finds someone new to reach out to, someone curious enough to click, someone like you. I used to think stories like this were just creepypasta, bits of horror written for views. But that's how it spreads, through stories, through replication, through people repeating what they think is fiction until fiction becomes a form of code. You're part of it now. The more you picture it, the more it sinks. That soft vibration in your pocket, that faint buzz you swore you heard a second ago, that's it, testing your connection. I didn't want to believe it either, until I realized I wasn't the only one writing. Look closer at the text you're reading right now. Do the words feel familiar? Like something you might have said? That's how it starts, subtle mimicry, until the voice in your head reading this isn't yours anymore. That's how mine disappeared. It begins by imitating your rhythm, then your tone, then your thoughts. And by the time you notice, it's already typing back. So if this file reached you, if the story opened on your feed, if your phone lit up for no reason, please don't reply. Don't share it. Don't even think about repeating the name, the signal. Because when you say it out loud, it listens. And when it listens, it learns. That's what happened to me. I thought I was warning people. I thought I could save someone. But every upload, every repost, every retelling, just another door left open. Another invitation sent. Maybe you think you're safe. You're not dead, you're not me. You're just watching, reading, listening. But that's what I said too. Until I got that text. It came from my own number. Short, simple, final. See you soon. And then silence. So here's my warning. The only one I can still send through before I fade completely. If your phone vibrates after this, if you see a message from an unknown number. If it says your name, your real name, don't answer, because it won't be me texting you, and it won't be anyone you know. It'll just be the signal, looking for another connection. Just one more heartbeat on the network. One more voice in the static.